I don't know why. I don't know why. I don't know why it never lets me go live. I don't know why. I don't know why. Okay. And we're back. So the last one was like, how was Patrick? Apparently, that's as far as I got before. Ooh. All right, we're just gonna try this again. Thanks, Holly, because I would have kept going, and it would have been another video where I'm live for like an hour and a half, but I get like 30 seconds. So just like general. Oh. The Dynasty, the Healer, the Hollow Void came out. Inside flipped over the Lovers, the Wish Granted, and the Wheel of Life. The Stronghold of the Zephyrs and the Vagabond. Have the cards. I like the Dynasty Healer. And then the Hollow Void. The Dynasty Healer is healing the Hollow Void. And then we have the Lovers, the Wish Granted, and the Wheel of Life. The Lover is the Nine of Cups. And let's do another three because of these three right there. And then we're going to see what card sort of falls where. So we need three more cards. You were so kind to give me 2 3s. Oh, I'll take these 3. Because these 3 all flipped out together. Sacred Cinnabar, Ace of Swords also flipped over. Is that what's that? The Consummating. So we have the Vagabond, the Chariot, and the Archangel Commander. I guess I can show you. It's interesting that the Archangel Commander and then the Sword and Shield is here. Is here. So the South Node is the Ten of Pentacles, which makes sense. That's everything that we come in with. The North Node is the Archangel Commander, which also makes sense because that's the point that we reach within this lifetime. So from beginning to ending, this makes sense. Like just an overview, it's basically like the Dynasty Healer is the person who takes on the mantle of healing whatever, gaining whatever they need to within self, that they change a dynamic within their lineage. It's the person who goes to, like, who pursues a higher education, who is from a family of those who have foregone higher education. Like one of your parents wanted to be a psychologist, but they didn't go to school for it. Their parent wanted to be an archaeologist. Their other parent, like throughout the lines, like there's been this thing that requires higher education that no one's been able to do because of resources, for whatever reason. But you are the person that gets a degree and pursues the path that you want. Like, you heal that within you, you do something different. And that's what begins to like fill that hollow void. Whatever was missing, you come in to fill. Excuse me. And then the lover is the wish granted in the will of life. It's like life plays out for the dynasty healer differently because they do the thing rather than it continuing to be something that hasn't been done. And then the vagabond, the chariot, and the archangel commander. Excuse me, the vagabond is feeling very like anti-hero ish. It's like the one who exists outside of the established dynamic, which again is the dynasty healer. It's the mold breaker. And then it culminates in the Archangel Commander. The Archangel Commander in this deck in particular, I only have 2 versions of the SKT. I got 2 out of 3 ish. But it's the challenge that we are issued from Archangel Michael or whatever guardian spirit, angel, deity, where we pray for something, but we are instead guided down a path where we do it ourselves. And then here's like our shield and sword. There's the laurel of victory, or is that a palm frond? It's giving me laurel wreath energy of victory and accomplishment. Well, there is the crown, so you get crowned. But it's the shield and the sword in this deck, which is interesting because before it was just the sword. What is that? Is that, I don't even know. I think that's the firmament of heaven, but I think I want like the armament of God. Yes, okay. Let's see. Armament. First of all, we gotta let's define it. Military weapons and equipment. The process of equipping military forces for war. Okay, well, maybe just like armor. I was thinking armor, but wanted to make it fancy. But more than just like, because I feel like with armor, there's an emphasis on like the armor. It doesn't also always contextually include like weapons, right? You have your weapons and then you have your armor, but altogether, it could be armor. So yeah, that's why I was like, this makes sense. And then like for the South Node to be in the Dynasty, the Ten of Pentacles, for the North Node to be the Archangel Commander. So when I say South Node, North Node, I'm working off of the planets in this Nine of Cups. So these 3 were the Dynasty, the Healer, the Hollow Void, the Lovers, the Wish Granted, the Will of Life, and then I pulled 3 more, and it's the Vagabond, the Chariot, and the Archangel Commander. Mars is the healer. The moon is the hollow void. Again, it's like when I correlate these to the planets, the cards to the planets, it's literally the exact same thing. But with Mars being the healer, it's interesting because healing isn't passive, but it feels like it doesn't necessarily get the same active recognition as like other things. Like healing is a very active thing. It's something that you do. It's a verb. Or to heal would be like a verb. What's when you put an ing? Is that a gerund? I don't know. I don't know grammar. It might be a gerund actually. Or is a gerund like when you make a verb into a noun? Well, isn't that the same thing? What is a gerund? We are getting all kinds of sidetracked. A form that is derived from a verb, but that functions as a noun. In English, ending in ing. Yeah, so they're literally the same thing. I didn't know what I was talking about. I only know that because I took Latin in high school and then Japanese and now Spanish. and a little bit of Chinese. Anyway, it's fine. It's active. And again, it's interesting because I feel like healing is something that we don't associate with Mars. So I love this. But also the hollow void is here. So it's whatever's been missing. And the hollow void is the moon. It's literally moon in Cancer. This would be Mars and Aquarius, South Node with Mercury and Virgo. All three of these are rulership, right? Mercury rules Virgo. The moon rules Capricorn. Jupiter rules Pisces, traditionally. And I feel like, again, this plays into the Archangel Commander, but in a way of like, whatever is being healed is being corrected. So in the example of a lineage that has desired higher education, but for whatever reason wasn't able to pursue it, it's like your parents should have been a psychologist, and their parents should have been an archaeologist, and their parents should have been whatever it is that they wanted to pursue. But it was like circumstance that interfered. And so now there's an energy of like correction. You are correcting for whatever life or choices and decisions in life or circumstance or history has like been slacking on. So Jupiter is the lovers, which is Gemini. That would be Jupiter and Gemini. The sun is Jupiter and Pisces, which I love. But also makes sense for a card like the Wish Granted. Like the things that you desire, you will like see. Jupiter, the Wheel of Fortune is Venus, which I'm not surprised about because the turning of the wheel of life, it's a passive thing. Like life happens. Life happening isn't active, but it is our response to life happening. That can be active or passive. Like life happening is an environmental effect. It's a stimulus. What is our response? What is our reaction? Then we have Saturn and the Vagabond. Again, not surprising, given, See, this is why I took the Saturn away, because we're going off of the traditional malefic Saturn. Saturn being the Five of Pentacles, being the Vagabond, being the bad guy. It's like, okay, yeah, we get it. Mercury is the Chariot. Also, Mercury is the fastest planet. Mercury being the Chariot, not surprising. And the North Node being the Archangel Commander, again, not surprising. The change maker, the one who, it's like a waymaker energy, but it's because of what, again, it's like our choices and decisions that open us up to possibilities that we may not have had access to by default. And then again, on the outside is the sword, the shield, and the crown. It's like throughout this process, again, it's like it feels like it's something that we come into. It's a destiny that we're born with that we mature into, meaning it doesn't just happen. Cool. Let's get one more. That was the first one. Maybe I'll timestamp these. I don't have my whatchamacallit, so I'll have to like type them somewhere. I'll make a note. Excuse me. It'd be quicker to just write it. Do 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 do. Let's create a note. There we go. So we'll say 1440 is number 2. 0000 is number 1. And this 1440 becomes a 14. Let's just call it 15. I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. I don't know how long I'm going to be live until it shuts me down. I don't even know how much of this like you're going to be able to see because apparently the desktop is like, yeah, nope, 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 nope. Cut it off, cut it off. I'm like, okay. I was excited too. I was like, oh my gosh, I was just talking about this. And then Holly was like, hey, you're frozen. And I was like, well, never mind. Oh, let me not talk about it. Might freeze the video again. The frequencies are just like too high. It's like too much. Like, not ready for that yet. The electronics said, yeah, no. They still, but it's fine. All right. So, let's do another one. What else has thine to say? All right, SKT. Anything else? I'll give it 5 shuffles. If nothing comes out, then I'll switch decks. 2, 3. Ooh, there we go. Ooh. The Archangel of Mysteries came out on her side. Angel who illuminates the shadow. So, what is the shadow? Give us a shadow, please. Maybe. All right, I'm going to pull 3 cards face down. And then for each of these cards, I'm going to pull 2 cards. And I'll read through these 3 shadows. Oh, it's the title card. That's interesting. That's interesting. So the second card, or the second shadow, is 2 cards. And what came out was 2 cards in reverse. So the second shadow reveals further shadows, which is interesting. The first shadow is, let's see, just how we'll do it. It's the convalescent Jupiter and Libra. I'm pretty sure Jupiter, no. Saturn is exalted in Libra. I think Saturn is exalted in Libra because I was like, it makes sense for Saturn to be exalted in Libra because Libra rules like the judicial system and partnerships, and who else is going to be Saturn? Anyway, Jupiter and Libra, this feels like this is all about paths of least resistance. The things that we are in tune with, the things that we are in harmony with, have natural flow. It's like a natural tributary where energy pools. It can work against us if we are like pessimistic in nature and we always assume the worst, and we're kind of sort of more comfortable when things don't go the way that we want it. Because, like, you know, we don't want to be disappointed, so we set the bar super low and we don't try and we do nothing to experience anything outside of what it is that we already experienced. So anytime something comes up, it validates what we already, like, it's validation either way. What you believe is validated with this Jupiter and Libra. It's the things that you can do in your sleep. Now, with this being a shadow that's illuminated, then that would be along the lines of like, what are some limiting beliefs that you have, that you hold, that you abide by, that are a lens through which you see the truth, or which are a lens through which you interpret the world. It's the lens through which you interpret things that happen in your life that serve to further validate what you believe as truth. There you go. I got there. And what it illuminates is the seeker and the title card, which is, yeah, it's literally what it is that you seek, you find. Unfortunately, with this being in shadow, and it doesn't necessarily have to be negative, it can also be positive. But on the negative, it's like that which you believe won't work doesn't work, and it continues to not work. That which you think you'll never find, you continue to not find. It continues to elude you. It's almost like it's like pushing a boulder up a hill, right? And let's see, I will draw it for you because that's what we're doing today, apparently. But can I get a different note? It's fine. Yeah, let's full screen this. So it's like, here's this hill. It's making me think of relative um, slash local and absolute maxima and minima. But we're going to try to keep this fairly simple. So okay. Darn it. I did it again. I'm going to give myself some help. This is also giving me like electron energy in the emission of light. If you know, you know. If you know, you'll see why. Okay. So here is a boulder, and this arrow is you. Okay, well. I wish I had more tools. I wonder if I can download more tools and more colors. It's fine. Um, so there's the boulder, and the arrow points to you. So it's like this. So you're pushing the boulder that way, and it's the path of least resistance, right? So it feels like because of a negative or positive belief, because through the path of least resistance, whatever it is that you believe, everything that happens you interpret in a way that validates that belief. And so, like, let's say that you're more pessimistic or negative thinking, like, I'll never experience this or blah, 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 whatever. It's like the amount of effort that it would take for you to actually experience that thing. It's like you may not necessarily clear that first hurdle in order to like experience something different. And on the negative side, it's easier because like when you're pessimistic, it's like pessimistic and nihilistic, whatever. It's like, why put forth the effort if I'm going to fail anyway? Like, why try? Why like hope or dream? Like, I don't want to be disappointed. So like, it's easier to put less into something and everything always fails because you never clear that like hurdle. And the same is true like for the positive. Although again, in the shadow, it's mostly I'm focusing mostly on the negative. Excuse me. So that's what makes it so hard. And I don't know why I drew two of them. But yeah, it's like that. But with the seeker in the title card is interesting. I feel like that could be there's something that we're wishing for, manifesting, or desiring. But we don't like, we actively work against it. And so we don't know how like to go about getting it. I think the seeker in the title card could also be like, there are some truths that are revealed here. So seek a therapist. But it's like, if you think that like you'll end up alone forever, and it's like what that shadow illuminates could be like how you really feel about yourself. Sometimes for some people it's a lot clearer. It's like, well, I'm not this and I'm not that, and these are the reasons why no one will ever like love or desire me. For others, it may be a little bit more projecty, like, oh, that person isn't meeting my standard in this way, and they're not doing this, and they're not doing that. Either way, it's like there's something that's revealed about the self, or there's something revealed about what we truly think and believe when it comes to the things that come to us so easily and so naturally. So that's the first shadow. The third shadow, because I'm going to do the second one last, is holy water. Ace of Chalices, the purifying. This is interesting. This almost feels like the opposite of the other. Where the other is a sort of complacency, this one is a sort of active refusal. But it feels like it may not necessarily it feels like there's something that it could easily miss, I guess, in a way. Maybe it's like trying to, it's like it's more focused on getting a solution than it is resolving the problem, if that makes sense. It's like it wants the answer, but it doesn't necessarily care like how you get it. And so in that, it feels like there are these pieces and parts of the process that are like completely missed. It's like it blows through something so fast that it doesn't see whatever. It's almost like if someone, if there's like, I guess we'll go acne, like someone breaks out a lot. And so they go like heavy on the creams and the ointments and the serums and stuff like that. And so they keep treating these like topical things. But it's like if there's an underlying cause of the acne that's like stress or oily foods that you eat or whatever, it's like you get a more like resolving the problem would be like looking at your diet or finding ways to mitigate and manage stress. So then you won't have acne, like flare ups and breakouts, rather than just like, I need a cream, I need an ointment, I need something to treat what is like topical, what is observable. It's like it never quite like goes below the surface to treat the underlying cause. That's the purifying in shadow. It's like it just wants to be over it. It just wants to, and again, it's just like it doesn't, there are times, and take it as it resonates, there are times and situations where it's more appropriate, but there are some situations where we really kind of sort of do have to dig beneath the surface. And we're in Scorpio season still for the next few days, at least. Not quite in the Sagittarius yet. So for this to come out, it's like, yeah. Not surprising. We just had the Taurus Scorpio lunar eclipse access. We're on Aries Libra now. I feel like sometimes I forget it, but by like sometimes I forget, I mean like I just don't think about it. But yeah, it's like there are some times when we do have to go beneath the surface. Yeah, I don't know either. I give up. I just I abandoned it and I started all over. But welcome back. The illumination of this shadow is interesting. There are 3 out of 4 parts of the illumination that are revealed. And it's the nocturne, the tower, and the corruptor. Jupiter in Capricorn, Mars, and Venus in Scorpio. 277 or 2167. See, it's like if it would have come out this way, this would have been resolution because the acts of Shiva purifies and removes corruption. But since the corruption came out after the tower, again, it's like the root cause is still there. So the corruption is going to like resurface. The acne is going to pop back up. And I feel like this honestly feels like it boils down to like time. I would say time management, but it boils down to like there are too many obligations, too many things in the day that you have to get done that you don't have time to necessarily like go below the surface and do this and do that. You may not have the resources to eat anything but oily food. You may just be in a stressful time of your life. Maybe you are a new parent and having your first child is stressful. Like there's not much. There are some things that you can do. Like you could utilize your resources if you have resources. If you know other people who have kids, or you have books like parenting books, you have groups, you have like a babysitter where you can like, decompress and de-stress and like get away. Like there are some things that you can do, but at the same time, you're still going to be a new parent. You know what I mean? And if it's not that, like it could also be like pain. Like there's a reason why we don't look at the things that we don't look at. There's a reason why we go to the creams and the ointments rather than, taking stock of everything. This is interesting. I thought the illumination of the shadow may have brought some resolution, but I guess it doesn't necessarily always. Action brings resolution. Illumination is just like, this is why, right? The shadow is acne. The illumination is oily food. The resolution is a change to the diet. And I didn't ask for resolution. I just asked for an illumination to these shadows. Resolution is within your hand, so it doesn't matter, even if I did ask. But it's like, I guess what's also interesting, and maybe again, like this is just, it's the purifying. It's so quick to like heal, resolve, move beyond, move past that it doesn't address the actual root concern. Again, 3/4 of this is illuminated. So it's like, 3/4, 75%, it's passing. But because the last fourth of this isn't illuminated, there's something about this tower that isn't able to remove the corruption like it should. Because after the tower falls, the corruption is still there. The corruptor came out after the tower. The second card, the one that's face down, is the Lovers. Oof. The Lovers is big oof. That's like, with that remaining in the shadow, that's an energy of like a refusal to acknowledge how one contributes to their own suffering. The Lovers is choices and decisions. It's also the things that we like surround ourselves with, and it's also our commitments. And that's the part that we aren't necessarily focusing on, how we are the bringers of our own misfortune. And so it's almost like it doesn't matter if circumstance were to change. Because like we would just make a certain choice or decision to keep us more or less in the same rut anyway. Maybe the leftovers is also about our comfort zone. So it's like this Marie Kondo thing where you get rid of the things that don't spark joy, where you like try to downsize, but everything is important, everything is significant. So you don't get rid of anything. There's nothing that's actually left behind. But that was the thing too. Like it's all topical. The stress is still there. The oily foods are still in your diet. Like since we don't go beneath the surface, since we have a more like topical approach, we get like topical approaches to deep problems give you like topical solutions. It's the things that we still hold on to. Oof. I mean, I guess again, I didn't ask for a resolution, so I don't really like, but I feel like these don't really need like something like that. It's like dig beneath the surface if you can. If you can't, then I would not recommend it. Not everyone can go beneath the surface on everything at every moment in their lives. Like it may not be the time. Uh, you may not have, again, you may not have the time, you may not have the resources. And if that's the case, then that's fine. But at least it gives you like that awareness, and that knowledge is already powerful enough so that if it's almost like if circumstances were to change or shift even slightly, then you would know what to do, right? Like let's say that you don't have time in your schedule to do whatever, like to eliminate whatever is stressing you out because it's a busy point in the work year or the work month or the work week or whatever. But you're aware of it because you dug beneath the surface. So you like it's been illuminated, but you can't resolve. But then it's like, okay, well, when things calm down, when things slow down, now you know what to do. When you get time, now you know, like, okay, I need to look into resources that like a good babysitter or like Head Start, pre-K, whatever, right? Like if your kid is sick, then you're not gonna send them like to the babysitter. You're probably gonna like be with them. But when your kid starts feeling better, then you can start like, you'll already know. The time will come when action can be taken. And just knowing is already like well enough on the way. So the second shadow is two shadows, and it reveals two shadows, two face down cards that reveal two face down cards. Like for the revelation, I was pulling cards. The first one I pulled two cards. The second one, like they flipped out face down before I could pull them. The third one, they flipped out and they flipped over. So Sun in Scorpio, Mars in Capricorn, the Memory Keeper and the Mason, the Six of Chalices and the Three of Orbs. This is big, like this is the way that we've always done it. This is the way that I've always done it energy. It's also very big, like it's unable to see past the past. It can also be like if it ain't broke, don't fix it energy. Like if we think that something's working for us, but it isn't, but we think that it is, then we not be incentivized to make any changes, right? Like we all know, a lot of us know someone who's like may not necessarily always be the most pleasant, but they're like, well, like nobody else has ever said anything, so it's fine. So like they don't recognize because no one's ever like brought it to their awareness or attention. Just like there are things that we don't recognize unless people bring it to our awareness and attention because we're not others. It's like sometimes it can be hard to see or understand where we may be the problem if no one ever tells us that we're a problem. You know what I mean? It's like for the person who's always like cracking jokes and making fun of people, but like they hurt a lot of people's feelings. Like if no one ever tells them like, hey, you hurt my feelings, then they just think like, oh, like we're having a good time. We're all laughing. Like, you know, I crack a joke. I laugh at you. You laugh at you. It's fine. It's not until someone makes us aware sometimes, especially when it comes to interpersonal dynamics, that we become aware of those things. Um, there's a lot of different ways. Like this could be the Six of Cups, could be nostalgia or trauma. Either way, it's the past, and it's how the past holds presence in the present. Like, I don't want to experience this thing ever again. So I become overly cautious and overly skeptical, overly sensitive to this certain thing. But in all of my overlyness, I end up in the same cycles. Or it could be holding something in the past to such high regard and such high esteem that we don't allow ourselves to experience anything different or other, or we're not open to the possibility of better. It's like the person who thinks that they've already peaked in life. I've already accomplished what it is that I'm here to do, and so the rest of my life has like little to no meaning. I'll never live up to what I used to do or what I used to be. But you could be just as whatever in a completely different area. You know what I mean? Or that could not even be the peak. Like, oh no. So from the second shadow, this is where it's like where that relative maxima minima versus absolute, like, or a global. Like we may think that this is the peak, but the real peak is back here. But if we're so convinced that this is the peak here that we stop living, we don't like reach that second peak. Hey Kirsty, how you doing? How are you today? How art thou? So this shadow reveals the bread of life and the stronghold of the flame, the darkening and the herald of the awakening. The pages come with messages in this deck. So I am going to get another message. I'm going to pull it, but I'm going to leave the deck face down. It's going to be this card. It'd be funny if it's another herald. It may not be, but it'd be funny if it is. To Rage Against the Machine. I'm all out of alcohol. I should grab another drink. I feel like I've been dancing today too, but like, or was that yesterday? That was just like, it's fine. Maybe there's an element of satisfaction here. Because with the coming off of that, with the bread of life and this page of wands, stronghold of the flame, it's like maybe you don't want it anymore. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. Some of us discover what it is that we want to do, who it is that we want to spend our lives with, who we are as a person. Like some of us come into it relatively early in life. And so we don't need 10, 20, 30 more years or 6 more months or however long to be sure or to be certain. And if that's the case, then that's perfectly fine. You may still experience some like external pressure of like, well, how do you know? Or you're so young, or you haven't seen, witnessed, or experienced anything else. I think on the other side, though, again, since this is more shadowy, and the shadow doesn't always have to be like negative or bad. Sometimes there are good shadows, especially for when we are the more pessimistic, nothing ever goes my way. Then the good things are relegated to the shadow because we shine the light on the not great. But there is also a little bit of like, there's so much life that we're not experiencing because we're not open. Um, really? With big chaos puppy energy? I feel like the smaller, small dogs can have big chaos energy, but bigger dogs with big chaos energy are sometimes capable of making like bigger messes just because they're bigger. You know what I mean? May not necessarily be as likely that they'll have that big chaos energy, but when they do, they are just way more harder to manage. But anyway, that sounds fun. Hopefully, nothing of value, worth, or importance is consumed or destroyed. But with this page of wands, like looking away, with the herald of the flame looking away from the ace of pentacles, the red of life, it feels like a diminished, like one who stopped dreaming, or like one who has become comfortable like playing it small, or one who has become comfortable like sacrificing and compromising, who has become affiliated with and who begins to enjoy the company of I had the word in my mind and then it just poofed, it just vanished. Who's comfortable with like, again, compromise and sacrifice, or who's comfortable with like going without. Oh. So the message of the stronghold of the flame is the shining quarry, is the Knight of Pentacles. So yeah, that is it's one who doesn't want for anymore. But again, this Knight of Pentacles is turned away from the Ace of Pentacles. So while it is okay to not want more, and while it is more than okay to be contented and to be happy with what one has, like there's a difference between like being content and being happy and like falling into the expectation of like compromise and like settling. And again, through nature of what this is, it's just like um, there's like more to life, there's more to you. It's that fixation upon the past. It's when the past limits the future. Okay, we'll do one more. I'm starting to get sleepy, and it's starting to approach that acceptable time for me to go to bed, more or less. Ooh, the healer and the blind seer at the bottom of the deck. Love that energy. I guess it would just be a question there of like, are you really contented? Are you really content? Are you really happy? Um, are you really okay, I guess, with missing out on the rest of your life because of what happened in the past? Sometimes the answer is yes. And when the answer is yes, it's okay because it's our answer, right? As long as you know what your answer is, then that's okay. It doesn't have to be what someone else would do. And it doesn't have to be what someone else thinks that you should do. And it doesn't have to be what someone else like has done or whatever. All right. Do 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 do. We're gonna say, 51 minutes is gonna be kind of close. But I can say 51:15 to like make it cute, you know? Oh, 51:15. I'm gonna do it, even though it's like closer to like 51:20. That's funny. It was 51:14, so. All right. Last but not least, SKT, message number 3. What do you want to say? What do you have for me to? Why am I like scooted so far back? But also, like, it's not a bad thing because I'm like worried in the camera. All right. One. Ooh. The Shining Quarry has made a return. Who's at the bottom of the deck? We're going to set the bottom of the deck to the side. Excuse me. So when the card fell out, I saw its face. I don't know what it is, but I saw its face. But like then it like hit the table and turned over. So the Shining Quarry is looking at something. The Necromancer was behind the card at the bottom of the deck, and it's that scarab. See that? That's why I was like, oh snap. This feels like a return of something. Or it feels like a reveal. This is almost giving me energy of like feeling like you have to go back to square one. Like moving back in with your parents if you've moved out, moving back to your hometown, like going back to an old job. Excuse me, but it feels like something is like it's that type of redirection towards something that we've already like progressed from onward from. But because the necromancer and the moon is there, it like it feels like there's something that wasn't ready or something that didn't exist the last time we were there. So like if you go back to an old job, let's say it's under new management, and if you left your job because of poor management, and like that was the key reason why or the only concern, then it's like, oh well, under this new management, my job isn't that bad and I kind of love it type of energy. Like something has changed. That's what's catching our attention. We also saw this card. It's the Corruptor. Or nothing has changed. But I think those experiences are sometimes important too. Sometimes it's important for us to go back to give someone or something a second chance and to experience disappointment again, or to experience things not working out. So maybe it's less just like, let's say that you go back to a relationship and all of the things that were a problem before the ending of that relationship are no longer a problem. But now you're just like growing in two different directions. And so it still doesn't work. But it doesn't work for like a different reason. And I guess that's also like in this Seven of Cups in particular, each cup comes with an animal that represents one of the seven deadly sins. So in essence, none of these choices are the right choice. None of these options are the right one. And sometimes sometimes it is for us to recognize, realize, and experience that too. For whatever reason. Maybe you do move back and you're not having any luck with whatever. And it's because like it's not for you to remain there. So maybe you stay wherever for long enough to like get back on your feet or to save a few dollars or to just like have a bit of stability while you like do research to see where you want to go next. But it's like different reasons still doesn't work out. The card that was at the bottom of the deck is another card that we've already gotten. It's the Ace of Chalices, Holy Water, the Purifying. So that's what the Shining Quarry is heading towards when it looks back at the Corruptor. It's that realization, it's that recognition of like, yeah, this still doesn't work. That will then lead you to something better. And it's like, it's a different kind of closure, I think. Or it feels like a different kind of closure. Like the difference between, yeah, this pizza is just as good as I used to remember, but it's also a lot more oily. I'm back on oily foods. It's super greasy. Like this pizza is really greasy. Like, yeah, it's good, but the grease ain't worth it, you know? Cauliflower pizza is pretty darn good and it's a heck of a lot less greasy. So, I'm going to be happy with my cauliflower pizza type of energy. Gateway of Resurrection. Wow, this is like, it's high key Mercury retrograde vibes, but it's different. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, Archangel of Healing with that Ace of Cups, the Purifying. See, this is purifying with a purpose. Okay, there we go. Who was that? Who flipped over? Huh. Oh my gosh, the healer. The Archangel of Healing, the healer, the holy water, the purifying. Yeah, remember how I said that like none of these choices, none of these options are the right choice in this deck in particular with how it's illustrated? This healer is pouring out both cups. All of her cups are getting poured out. And she's crying. So it ain't always easy. Sometimes it is difficult. But we can learn to let go of things in love, from a place of love. Love for self and love for another. You know what I mean? And that's it. I mean, I've seen all the healers in the deck at this point. Bottom of the deck is the shining dew, waters and waves. There's so much water here. And then the Knight of Swords is behind this Knight of Cups. Lots of water and lots of movement. Like all this water, and then this one Knight of Pentacles. That one Earth card. Because of that, there's something about stagnant water and how stagnant water breeds like bacteria and all kinds of typically undesirable things. But fluid, moving water doesn't, or at least not to the same degree. And again, it's like if you need a clarifying experience, it's okay. There was like, it was a hot second, it was a hot minute, maybe not. It's been like, there's been these clarifying experiences that like I've had, that I know other people who've had, and they didn't necessarily all occur at the same time. But again, it's like sometimes you just have an experience to show you how much you've changed or grown, or to show you that you don't want to go back for whatever reason. And it can go from one of those, like maybe the first time it was like, it's not me, it's you. But now it's going to be, it's not you, it's me. Like, I don't want this anymore. This is not what I desire for me. And it's nothing against you. It's nothing against the company. It's nothing against my hometown. It's nothing against whoever or whatever. It's just like, you want different. Sometimes we got to have those clarifying experiences. That's it. To give us a different kind of closure, or to give us closure if we didn't get closure the first time, you know? So that's what SKT's that's what SKT's got to say tonight. I kind of want to pull it. I'll pull one. A mystical shaman oracle card. I looked at them before I went live, but I was like, we'll stick with the SKTs. For this one, just one card, or however many cards come out. For the Mars Kazemi. For Mars conjunct the Sun in Scorpio. Just because I'm personally a little curious. And again, Mars came out with the healer earlier. I guess Mars and Scorpio being the healer isn't too surprising. I mean, it could also be the projector. It doesn't have to be the healer. Ooh. We're going to do that. And then we're going to finish off the shuffle. The moon at the bottom of the deck. Ooh. We just had a new moon, Scorpio. So the moon went into Sagittarius after Scorpio. It might still be in Sagittarius. Might be in Aquarius. Who knows? How many cards is this? 4 cards came out. 5 cards came out face down. The first card is number 44, the Sacrifice. The next card is number 28, the Jaguar. Number 1, the Ancient Ones. 21, the Gatherer. And 5, the Beloved. This is Sun or Mars Kazemi. Cappy Moon now? Oh, okay. What? That was quick. But I guess that was, wait, that was 1113. And the sun is like in the third decade. So, like the next day, it would have been Sagittarius 2.5 days. So, I guess it checks out. This 4 days kind of like blended together and flew by. I was asleep for a lot of it, which I love personally. Anyway, the sacrifice jaguar, the ancient ones, the gatherer, and the beloved for Sun conjunct Mars in Scorpio, opposing Uranus in Taurus, maybe. Is Pluto back in Aquarius now? I mean, it wouldn't be squaring it because that would be early Aquarius if it is. It's probably still in Capricorn, honestly, because Pluto's slow. I don't think it re-enters Aquarius until like January or something like that. So it would be sextiling Pluto and Capricorn. So Sun conjunct Mars in Scorpio, opposing Uranus in Taurus. Uranus in Taurus could be like things that have needed to be changed for a long time, but it's when habits, patterns, the comfort zone, and traditions like start to impede like constructive needed changes. It's like an old building that's about to be condemned and it desperately needs a remodel if we don't want it to just like collapse under its own weight. Pluto and Capricorn, it's a very similar energy because Capricorn can be the structure, the organization, the backbones, the foundation of something that is well established or that is intended to be long lasting. But with that sextile, it feels like things just sort of like naturally come up. So with the sacrifice and the jaguar, um, it feels like maybe like harsher truths or realities, things that we may have been avoiding for a while. We kind of like, we throw our hands up and we say, okay, like, I see it. I'm not going to continue to run away. I'm not going to continue to pretend like I don't see this or that. Like, I'm not going to continue to ignore it. This almost takes me back to the beginning with the dynasty healer because of the ancient ones, the gatherer and the beloved. So again, it's like as we sort of open up to those realizations, that's what like, and then the sextile to Pluto and Capricorn would be like, oh, like that's why, like this is why I continue to make certain choices and decisions in my life that have like this kind of outcome. It's because of these things that I wasn't able to face or that I wasn't facing, handling, or addressing until now. Like, this is the reason why I kept choosing partners that didn't really like love or value me, or I kept choosing jobs where I wasn't valued or appreciated, or why I kept like aiming lower than I should have because I didn't believe in myself, because I didn't trust me to make the right choice or decision because of blah, 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 whatever. And it's almost like that's what empowers Uranus and that opposition between Scorpio and Taurus. That's what empowers us, like that sextile over to Pluto in Capricorn trines that Uranus and Taurus. So if we're having difficulty in that opposition, we have this sextile to the trine to make it like easier. Because then it's like we start making different choices and decisions because of the things that we are now facing. And as we do that, we notice that like we feel better. We're more confident in ourselves. We start to see things start to change, and then it gives us confidence to like really commit, right? Or we make so many small changes in our lives that these big things begin to like, these long-standing things begin to crumble and change and transform and transfigure into something different. Again, like Martian energy is feeling very whole, healed, healthy. It came out as the healer earlier with the sacrifice and the jaguar and this Sun Kazemi. It's just like, yeah, it's like I'm gonna make the difficult choice and decision to get that thing that I really want, or to become the person that I've always wanted to be, or to be the person that I've always known myself to be, or whatever. And with the ancient ones, the gather and the beloved, like when people are like, I've come to change the planet Earth, or I've come to be a generational curse breaker in my family, or like I've come with a purpose and a mission to make this world better in whatever way, to whatever scale and degree. Like this is that energy. Like you are the culmination of line after line after lines of lineage and what is that? What is that? It's like heredity. What's the word? Whatever that word is that I can't think of right now. It's like it's all culminated in you. And you are the one to bring whatever about. And that's the reason why I was like, it feels like exactly what I started this with. With the dynasty, the healer, the hollow void, the lovers, the wish granted, the will of life, the vagabond, the something, and the archangel commander. What was the something? What was that one? What was in the middle? I don't remember. Anyway, with all those cards back in the beginning. And I know that there are quite a few people. Well, yeah, I know that it is a line of thinking like, well, it's not fair that my ancestors put me in charge of healing the family line, and if someone would have told me that Earth was in the state that it's in, I never would have agreed. Like, I never would have incarnated on Earth. I never would have agreed to this. I never would have done that if I would have known that it would be as hard as it is. And to those people, that may not resonate for you. This may not resonate for you, and that's fine. Not everything is for everyone to do. The rainbow is our final card. Bottom of the deck is the heart of the sky. Oh, look at that. It's kind of gorgeous. And then there's the beloved again, under the heart of the sky. Oh, look at that. I didn't see that. It's almost like you see the little swoopy thing, how it like swoops out. And then it's like the speed trail of this little bird. Interesting. Cool. All right. I'm not surprised. Mars has been over in Patrick Land. Mars has been like Mars has changed up the game for a minute. Because I remember it was after or around the time that Mars or that Saturn and Jupiter were conjuncting, like Mars was making a lot of aspects to Saturn. And at some point, like Mars was in Capricorn. Because I remember being like Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Like Saturn is what gives Mars the structure to be productive and to be beneficial and to be benefic without changing who or what Mars is as an energy. And it's like it's that one kid in the class who just like needs extra attention. Not every teacher, not every parent, not every person is going to give the attention that that child may need. But for the one that does, it changes everything. Now that child isn't like a class clown or they're not a distraction in the classroom anymore. Like that's what Saturn does for Mars. That's what it's like. That's what gives us Einstein's. You know, I don't know if Einstein was like a whatever. Sacred Fire, the Ace of Scepters, the Awakening is the final card from the Spirit Keeper's Tarot. We've now seen every ace. The Sacred Cinnabar, Ace of Swords, the Consummating, Holy Water, Ace of Chalices, the Purifying, Bread of Life, Ace of Orbs, the Darkening, and Sacred Fire. Ace of Scepters, the Awakening. Bottom of the deck is the Holy Sea, Master of the Arcanes. So Hierophant. But this Holy Sea and Sacred Fire is interesting. Oh, and look, there's our Stronghold of the Flame again. Page of Wands. The whole like it's like through this it's like this sacred fire illuminates something that used to be in the dark, and so now we can see whatever holy thing or holiness this sacred fire has to show us. Oh look, there's the sun in the back. The Holy Sea, like seeing the holy. Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Kirsty and Holly, for being here, for being my folks that will let me know if the stream decides to randomly stop again. Fortunately, this time I made it a whole hour and 19 without it doing that. For anyone else who watches this later, I guess thank you for your likes, comments, and shares. I'm kidding. I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. I hope that whatever you need along your path journey and what you find, I hope that as things come to your awareness, that you can take stock of where you are, both in the way of like if something would be overwhelming or non-beneficial in the moment, that you would like know that and that you would feel okay with just being like, you know what, I can't deal with this right now. I'm sorry, but I can't. I literally cannot. Or that you would like, if you've built up a tolerance, an endurance, a strength, a resilience, or whatever, where you actually can handle something or where you can face something, that you will also like acknowledge that too. Like, oof, this may be a lot, but I'm feeling up to the task. I think I'm gonna try my hand at it. Whichever, again, it's like I hope that you can be in touch and in tune enough with yourself to give you permission to make whatever choice or decision is best for you. So, with all that being said, I will catch y'all in the next one, whenever that is, wherever that is, however that is, whyever that is, and whoever that is. Just trying to cover all the question words.